Hello, just a quick intro to this tip. It's a different one this week. My son is about to go and play pennants for his club, and he was doing this little exercise where he went online and did a flyover with Google Maps to look at the golf course, and you can actually put measurements in and you can find out what the carries are and the distance from the tee to the green and the fairway to the green and over water and short of bunkers and all that sort of stuff. So he was sort of going through making some notes and making himself a little notebook, and I thought that's a great tip. You guys might find that really helpful, how to do that. And if you find yourself going to a course that you don't know, or maybe you've got a pennants or a match play game, and if you don't get a chance to have a practice round, then this little tip that I'm going to do today for you might help.
All right, everyone. So as I was saying in the intro, I am going to take you through a really great trick to get a sense of a golf course before you go and play it, especially if you have never played it, or even if you've played it before and you just want to get a bit of a refresher. So I've got Google up here, and I'm just going to go to Manly Golf Club. This is just the course I've decided to use as an example. Do your investigation on, let's say, and so you'll get your golf club will come up here, and I'm going to click on the map. So what you want to do then is come down here to layers, down here, click on that, and then you're going to scroll all the way in close. You can see the courses coming up there. Now this course here, you can see the actual golf clubs down here, parking area here, quite handy if you aren't sure how to get there. You can check out the directions as well if you haven't done that already. Now what I'll do is I'll take you through a couple of holes, and I'll show you why this is such a great little tip to do some distances, work out carries, work out if you need to hit a driver off the tee or if you need to lay up. You can actually go around every single hole if you've got the time and work out a strategy, which is so helpful, particularly in match play, and especially if you have never played the course, obviously, before. So why don't we start with hole number 1, just for fun. Now I know for a fact that this is hole number 1 that starts here, goes down to the green here. So you can see down here, this is the tee boxes. We've got the men's, probably the ladies, and maybe the socials here. So for an average, we'll go from the middle one here, and I'm going to right click on there. I'm going to click measure distance. Then I'm going to come out to a point where I think I would want to hit my drive, which I think is probably around about here, because you've got a bunker here and the fairway does narrow down a little bit here. Now you may not be able to hit it this far anyway, but let's see, what's the distance to here? 201. Okay, so yeah, most ladies particularly wouldn't be hitting it that far anyway. So if you were a big hitter though, and you could hit like say 230 off the tee, then you might find yourself up in this awkward area. So this is quite handy to know that you only want to hit it about 200 off the tee. Or if you're a lady who hits it about 160, then you're going to end up around about here, I would say. Then what we want to do is we want to do a second measurement. So we right click here, measure distance, and then we see how far we've got left. So you've got 131. So most average ladies should be able to go 160 off the tee, then 131 in. So that's a pretty good way to play the hole if you can. If you don't think you can hit that far, you might want to lay up into this sort of area down here, and then you can pitch on from there. So a good little strategy might be from here to here, here to here, which is about 120 from here. So say you did 140 or 150, then 120, then you're pitching on 2 putts, bogey, hopefully 5 or 2, maybe more, depending on your handicap. Okay, so that's an example there of our first hole. Then I know here at Manly that we cross over the road and we come down to this path. I think the second is over here somewhere, but let's just use this hole here, which I'm not 100% sure what number it is, but we'll go from here because it's quite an interesting path through. Let's just see how long it is. So again, we'll take our middle distance, right click, come down to measure distance. Then let's see what it is all the way to the green out of interest. 240. Okay, so I don't think this is going to be a par 3. I think it's probably going to be a short par 4. Let me find out. I will come right back. Okay, I am back again. It is in fact not a par 3. It's the 9th hole, and it is a par 4, and so hence why it's quite a long way. So let's work out what we would want to do. So from that middle tee, we'd want to hit it to about 180, I would think. If you wanted to really be careful not to run into these bunkers, you could come back to 170. Not a bad idea. So that's your tee shot. If you're coming off the forward marker, it's only going to be 145. If you're playing from the back, it's 193. If you're a big hitter from the back, you might be able to get onto that green in one, but probably it's probably a big old hit. But you do have a bit of room out here, so if you wanted to go for it, you could, because if you did end up in the trees, you're only punching out, so it might be worth the risk. You'd have to think a little bit about that. But I would think for the average lady golfer, let's put the tee in the middle here, or the average golf club member, you might ideally want to hit yourself to about 175 off the tee. And then you're only going to have, now I just have to clear the measurement and start again from here to here is only 61. So a nice tee shot of about 175. So that just depends what club you need for that distance, and you've only got 60 metres in. So this is a great example of why it's so helpful to be good at this sort of distance, 50, 60, 70. Really helpful to be confident with these sorts of wedges. Now, go to the range, and I know how easy it is to measure it out. Sometimes it's not so easy. You might not have markers to work off. But if you can find yourself a place to work on these distances with your wedges, like what length swing takes me 50 metres with my pitching wedge? What length swing takes me 60 metres with my pitching wedge? What length swing takes me 70 metres? And then you might do the same little exercise with a sand wedge. What length swing takes me 50 with a sand wedge? What length swing takes me 60? And then you might be thinking, okay, well, what's the difference? Why do I choose a sand wedge over a pitching wedge? And the answer would be, when the pin's at the front, let's say the pin's here, and you want to land it on and stop it quickly, then you'd want to use your sand wedge. So you need to know what length swing will take you, in this case 57. You might want to just round that out to 60, make it a bit easier. Or if the pin was up the back, say here, where you've got a little bit of green to work with here, so you could land it on the front, it would roll a little bit more, then you could use your pitching wedge. So what length swing do I need to make the ball go 70 with my pitching wedge? So if the pin's back, use less loft. If the pin's forward, use more. It's more risky, obviously, to use a sand wedge than it is to use a pitching wedge. So only use a sand wedge if you have to. If the pin was here, you might still use a pitching wedge and just sort of land it on the front, let it run up a little bit. However, if the pin was here, you might feel the need to carry it over. Or if your handicap was a little bit higher, you might just aim for this fat of the green and putt across, which is probably the smartest move. But you're only 60 odd metres, so for a decent player, you want to be getting that nice and close. This is a good birdie potential hole on the course here. Okay, so let's scroll out and see if we can find another interesting hole to talk through here, because the Manly golf course is full of water carries, layups and things like that make life quite difficult for the golfer. It's quite a difficult course. What have we got here? This one looks interesting, doesn't it? Here, let's zoom in a little bit and we can see. What have we got here? Looks like there's a track that goes up around here, and there's a There's a green up there. That looks very difficult. Or is that a T? That's a T. Yes, that's a T. So this must be the back tees, and this must be that might be the men's tees, this might be the ladies' tee here. So let's do this one. Let's imagine this is our tee here, and we're playing this hole, green here. So we're going to right click, clear the measurement from the previous hole. Right click from the middle of that tee, measure distance. So what is it to here? 150. Okay, so this is the perfect example where you're not going to want to try and hit it to here because it's 220, and your carry is about 210, we'll call it safely 210. So most people can't carry 210. If you can, then brilliant. You can lay up on, you can hit it onto the green in one. But there is a lot of trouble around here. So whether it's even worth trying to do that, you've even got out of bounds over here. So whether it's even worth trying to do that, I would say not, because if you can tee it off to here, you've only got 150 metres, so most people would only be needing about a 5 iron or maybe 5 wood or something at the most. Let's clear that. And then so from here into the green, whoops, right click and not left, measure distance into the green. It's only 70. So you want a 150 metre tee shot and then a 70 metre wedge. So that's a good little hole to know your distance. If you hit the ball about 180 off the tee, generally speaking, but you don't know that that's how far you hit the ball, you could be in danger here of ending up into the water. Yeah, because it's 177. So if you tend to hit about 180 off the tee, and you're just getting up thinking, I'm just seeing my driver here, but because you don't know the course and you might not be able to see this water from the tee, which is highly possible, you could easily get up, hit a great drive and think, oh, that's a beauty, and get up and find it in the water. So really helpful to do this sort of exercise. You could even do this at your home course where you play all the time and work out all your distances off your usual tees, because really helpful to know. It just makes you a little bit more accurate, make your scoring a little bit easier. You might say, okay, I want to know what it is to the front edge of that bunker there, like that, just for example. No, you probably wouldn't hit because it's only 100 metres, but let's say it wasn't. Let's say it was a further one. You didn't want to run your drive up into this bunker. Then you can make a note on a little piece of paper, get a notepad out and, write down hole number 1, Manly Golf Club or whatever it is, obviously that you're doing, and on this particular hole, so you need to know the hole numbers, and you can get that from, I've gone to these different, this is like the whole sort of course guide, and it gives you all the different holes and tells you the par and the distance and all that stuff. So you can do a little bit of research, do a little bit of exercise and write it all down, so then you can have your little notebook with you when you play. So let's go back to where we were. We're going to be driving to about here, clear measurement, and then we're going to go from here to the green is 71. Again, great if you can possibly be confident around those wedges. That might be a full wedge for you. With for some women, it might be a 3/4 wedge, might be a half wedge for a guy. Just obviously depends how far you hit the ball. So here is another interesting one. This hole here I'm looking at here. So there's your tee back here. So it looks like quite a long one. I'm going to go and see if it's a par 5. Go to Golf Course Guide. So where were we looking at? This one crosses over the water a few times. Yeah, here. Okay, let's see which one that is. That's the 3rd. Okay, so that's the 3rd. Let's find out what the 3rd is. Par 5, yeah, it looks like quite a long hole. The first of 3 double water carry holes. Okay, your tee shot is a lay up, left centre of the fairway, avoid the fairway bunkers, first water hazard, mid iron, leaving you the best angle to a small tricky green. All right, interesting. Okay, so that is this one here, double water carry. So here's our, we'll go right click on the middle tee box, right click, measure distance. Now what does it say to here? 200, right. So if you're a big hitting guy, you do need to know that you can't hit it any further than 200 or maybe 210 if you wanted to get close. Most women may be more likely back here, and then it's the second carry that is potentially an issue for people. So good to know what it is from here, and obviously it's different from further back and from, so we went from the ladies' tee, then a lot of ladies can hit it, you know, further than 175 or whatever it is here, and they're going to end up in the water here. So good to know what it is. Then we're going to go from here to here is 128 if you wanted to lay up again. So if you ladies have hit 150 off the tee, then you've got 130 or whatever to here, or say the guys have hit to here, then next shot up into here. They're probably not going to do a carry, won't be able to do a carry of 230 from there. So you're looking to kind of lay up into here. You might even want to lay up to be a little bit short of that bunker there, just in case you carve it out to the right a bit and you end up in there. What you don't want to do is be hitting a shot from that bunker to that green, because fairway bunker shots are a little bit iffy. You sometimes don't quite collect it, you don't get under it, you're going to be potentially in the water here. So you want to avoid a long green, a long sort of carryover water from a fairway bunker if you possibly can. So that takes us to 140. So at this stage, if you're hitting off this middle tee, you've gone about 175, then you've gone about 140, and then from here we're going to be going about 90. Okay, so there's your good strategy. Tee shot to here, second shot to here, and then 90 metres over and onto the green. That's going to only be a fairly short iron for most people. Okay, that was the third, I think. Now the last one I thought I'd talk to you about would be this this hole here, which I think is a really interesting little one here. It goes around this way here. I'll just find out what number it is. 14, par 4. Okay, let's have a look. Hole number 14 is this one here. So the tee goes from here and it ends up in front of the water here. So let's have a little look at this. And we'll go from the middle tee to your previous measurement. So here, measure distance to, let's say we want to hit to here. This is a nice sort of fat part of the fairway. 192, so that's quite a long way. So let's say you only hit your driver about 160 and you're going to end up there. Either way, you're in a good spot if you can hit your drive, or you can lay up to this point. If you're a big hitter, so you hit the ball about 230 or 240, then you are going to find yourself getting into trouble, especially over this side here. It comes up quite close. So you ideally want to keep it off to the right a little bit, and you only want to hit it at about, say, 185 to be comfortable. That's your goal there. Then from there we go onto the green is 170. So that is quite a decent second shot as well. And you do have the water here to worry about. So at 170, a lot of people might be hitting a fairly long iron, maybe even like a fairway wood possibly. So if you're here and you don't hit the ball 170, you might want to then go lay up here. It's 120, and then you've only then got, or you could push that out a little bit and say up to here, maybe 130 or 140. Then you've only got a little pitching wedge on, which is probably a safe way to go given you've got the water behind here. So you can see that being able to do a flyover like this is really helpful for working your way around a golf course. You can see some holes are fairly straightforward. You can make some notes, have a little notebook with you, and you're going to feel a whole lot more confident, I think, when you're seeing each hole for the first time. At least you got some notes to tell you, okay, there's some hidden water on this hole, so I don't want to hit my driver here, or maybe you always hit your driver because you don't hit it very far, but then the second shot could be an issue. Do I have to lay up, or do I need to try and carry over? So anyway, hopefully this has been helpful for you, and play around with it. You know, Google the club that you're interested in or that you need to play, or Google your own club and see if you can start making some notes. It might just fine tune your scoring, and just plotting your way around can be really helpful when you play golf. Golf course management and course strategy can go a long way to reducing your score. So let me know what you think. I'd love some feedback. Okay, see you next time. Bye.